Alright, Mang. What's up, dudes? Alright, so here we go. You can see we've got a 4 cap map here. So what happens on some of these maps is you can kind of see on the mini map that the way our team layout is, we're heavy destroyers across the board here. So, but we've got our big guns. I think we've got a battleship and a cruiser over by the CD side. So once we get that, I think what teams need to recognize is go towards your big guns, especially when you got the speed, right? It doesn't always work, but I think in this particular game, it was a good call for us to kind of flood this one side. As it turns out, they had a couple of their destroyers over here, and I think their battleship, their Tirpitz, was over here. He comes up shortly. And they had a AtCat and a Sims over in C. AtCat was spotted already, I think, briefly. But the team kind of held together. We did have one guy, I think he stayed over by B. I can't really read the mini-map right now as I'm voicing over this, but I know that we had one guy that stayed over that. We might have had another guy that went there, but the bulk of our team came over this way, which sometimes it's hard to get teams to do that, right? But it makes sense. You get spread out too far, especially in a game where you got a lot of torpedo boats. You lose your big guns. It's kind of over at that point, you know. Unless you got a couple of really good players on your team, and the enemy team makes a few mistakes. But having all these guns focusing on these destroyers over here was key for us to be able to grab this side of the map. We were held on to B briefly. I think we've lost it now, but we do pick it back up. Again, I'm just kind of having a hard time reading the mini-map because the screen's small in my video editing software here. All right, we're getting B back now. So we got B, C, and D. I called to start, to remember we got to defend, stick together, and now we got to defend this side of the map. We ended up losing D because we had so many ships over here, but everybody kind of pushed into the top circle here, and maybe one or two guys should have stayed a little more back so that we didn't have that that red ship sneak in, but we get it back fairly quickly. So that AtCat almost sent me to the locker there, but luckily I got in a position where I avoided his torpedoes, or he did a bad job targeting him, and here I kind of thread the needle. And I think I only took one. That's one of those situations where it can be, you can get what I just got, which is you can actually avoid the torpedoes, or you will get hit by like 3 of them, even though only one of them was clearly the one that could hit me. So, but he was doing a good job hiding up there, and he just let himself get spotted by me, and that was a mistake on his part. I guess he thought he was going to clip me, and he almost did. But not. So that's pretty much the end of this match. Now it's just clean up at this point. I think we end up losing one more guy, but we've got all the cap circles, and clearly this is a game that is won. And I think it was won because we were able to get everybody to just kind of stay cohesive and pick a side instead of the usual thing that you'll see happen on these maps, which is half the team will go to one side and half the team will go to the other. And if you run into an enemy team that decides, okay, well, let's flood one side, like we did, you can see what happens. So just something to think of when you see these 4-cap maps. Go to the side where your big guns are and try and hold it that way. See you next time.